first tonight at 10, we're following two top stories. Milwaukee Mayor Tom Barrett is entering the governor's recall race, what he and his fellow Democratic opponent are saying. In our team coverage tonight, the night team's Maria Guerrero is following that.
But first, we go to our Theo Keith, who's been following today's announcement that two parts of the collective bargaining law have been struck down. Theo?
Well, as you said, Eric, collective bargaining law, the Collective Bargaining Law Act 10, that's what started the uproar in the first place. Now the parts requiring unions to hold annual certification votes and prohibiting automatic dues deductions, well, those are now gone.
Well, it's a bittersweet victory.
It's just a first step.
It's a fight that began in the halls of the Capitol and spilled out onto the square. It since went into a courtroom, and Friday came a partial win, but not a total victory for the governor's opponents.
We're happy about that. We'd be a lot more happier if it was all reversed, but that didn't happen. But we got to take every victory we can.
But the fact of the matter is that our members still do not have their collective bargaining rights back. The fight will continue until workers' rights to negotiate for fair wages and safe working conditions are fully restored.
Judge William Connolly's 39-page decision went back to Walker's election because while AFSCME and WEAC fought against Walker then and dealt with Act 10's effects, some public safety unions who supported then-candidate Walker were exempt from the law. The judge says whether or not it was the governor's intent to suppress those who opposed him, it sure looked that way.
Even though he changed it overnight, him and the Fitzwalker stand group changed it overnight. You can't reverse it overnight. So we're in this for the long haul, and this is another major step.
Again, I'd like to be done with it so we can move our state forward, but I really view it as an issue of courage.
The governor was not commenting about the judge's decision, but in an interview with CBS News set to air next week, Walker says ultimately he'll win re-election and voters, instead of a judge, will validate the collective bargaining law.
What this does is send a tremendous message all across America, every state house, even in the halls of Congress, that you stand up and you take on the tough issues. If you do what we know, what people ultimately elect us to do, which is to make tough decisions, not just for ourselves, but for our children and our grandchildren, there'll be people willing to stand up there with you.
And perhaps an indication of what's to come, Attorney General J.B. Van Hollen says he's confident he'd win an appeal if he chose to go in that direction.
And so, Theo, for the unions here, what does this ruling mean?
Well, for WEAC and some of the other unions, AFSCME, like we mentioned in the story, this ruling means increased funding for their operations. They said they would lose significant money because of a loss in dues contributions because of Act 10.
All right, Theo, thank you very much.